What's up, guys? Welcome to Wealth Liberation Radio. Today, we are going to get into all things Turo Airbnb, short-term rentals, to be precise. We're going to talk the good, the ugly, and the bad, because I feel like right now you're hearing a lot about short-term rentals and, how great they are, and everyone's kind of boosting, everyone's jumping on this train, but there's a lot that people don't talk about, and I feel like it's a little powder puffed, if you will, and there is a lot of things that you need to take into account. So we're going to touch base on some of those things and what are some things that you should be careful about, what you should know going into it, and, the grass isn't greener always on the other side. So we're going to touch it just as good as it is, because it is good. Short-term rentals, don't get me wrong, we do very well. And but with that being said, there is a lot of stuff that can happen that you need to take into account and be able to overcome, if you will. So, Austin, why don't you jump? I don't want to take the bad seed, so why don't you go ahead and tell people the kind of the bad. In my opinion, these are the things that I think you're going to run into. Here, let me.
So you are going to take it.
I'm gonna start. and then you can we can debate each other.
Okay, you go ahead.
From what I've seen and when I'm doing it, this is the things that I run into. People really don't take care of your stuff. So you can't be emotionally attached to anything that you are short-term renting. Okay, so don't go get yourself a house and you're like, oh, I'm going to Airbnb my house. Don't do that. If it's your house, I wouldn't say just go ahead and let people run crazy through your own home. Okay, that's me. Some people are different, but if it's your home, probably want to stay away from short-term rental in your own house. Now, if it's an investment property, a little different. You're not there. It's not your real house. You're not as attached to it. It is what it is.
It's not your real house.
It's not your real house. It's just it's a fugazi.
It's a side chick.
Yeah, it's okay. Well, this is a family friendly show. But yes, it is your side piece. So with that being said, totally cool. There's a couple different ways you can go about acquiring properties, right? You could cold call to get them. You could actually buy the property. You could sublease. There's all different kinds of ways you could do it. But with that being said, once again, don't do your own home. That's my first take on that. And then it's making sure you establish house rules. House rules are really important, because if you don't have house rules, people are going to run amok. They're going to do whatever they want to do. Chances are they're going to do whatever they want to do anyway, even with house rules. So you kind of want to make sure you have house rules in play. Let me ask you a question. You got a property. I know you're a big advocate. Me and him are going to get in a little debate here. This is going to be interesting for you guys. He's a real big advocate on one day rentals. And then I, on the other hand, am a real big advocate of no, let's not do that. Let's make it longer than 1 day. Now, he has a very solid point, and I do agree with him. The 1 day rentals do increase revenue. This is where we're going to get into a little tiffet. I think if you're coming to Vegas and you have a short-term rental and someone's booking it for 1 day, we're talking about big properties here. Like we should start with saying that there's not all properties are the same. You have big properties, luxurious properties, then you have smaller 2-bedroom, 2-bath, like something just small, right? Let's talk about big properties. 5 bedrooms, 6 bedrooms, really nice backyard, pool, grotto, the whole thing. Playa. Someone's renting that. They want to it's a flex statement to get that house. No one's coming to Las Vegas for 1 day to flex in that house unless they're doing it for a party. Yes or no?
No.
Nope. This is wrong. This is why. Explain to me why no. And this is what he's going to say. He's going to say, well, if they do it for 2 days, they're still going to have a party. Go ahead.
Yeah. Because you can't put everybody in one box. I would say a majority of people that come, you're going to have a different clientele coming to Vegas as opposed to, something like Seattle or something, where it's going to be a different customer, because there's a lot more tourists and people are right next to the strip. Of course, people are going to, partake in party activities, but that doesn't mean everybody. You're going to get the same. You're going to get people with 2 days, 7 day, whatever. They're going to still party. They're just partying more.
But would you feel like when someone rents the house for one day and they say, oh, 4 people, you're no. Every single what's the percent? You're a numbers guy. What's the percentage that one day booking at a certain property that's big, and then it ends up being 10 to 15 to 20 people, and they said that they were going to have 6 people, and it's a party, and they rented the property just because it has a really nice backyard, and they wanted a pool, and they are throwing a party.
Well, you could usually just tell from the people's questions. Like if they're saying, "Hey, we're throwing a barbecue for my cousin, and it's his whatever." They're being upfront. They're telling you. You're usually going to be, most people would be like, "Oh no, it looks like a party," but actually, those people are probably going to be responsible because they're telling you upfront, "Hey, this is exactly what we're doing."
I agree.
The people that literally, it could be 4 people, it could be say 6 or maybe whatever your capacity limit, and they don't say anything, and then you check in and they still don't say anything, and then you say like, "Hey, just in case you didn't see the first 3 messages where it says don't party, please don't party," and then they still don't say anything. Yeah, they're gonna throw a party for sure.
Right. So how do we? What's our recourse on that? Let's talk. Let's tell the people what kind of recourses do you got? Because you got to be professional, guys. You can't roll over there like, "Yo, what's up?" You know what I mean? You can't do that. So
Yeah.
how do you take a professional? What's the professional recourse on that? Like, hey guys, you're not responding to the messages. Clearly, they're having a party here. House rules say no party. What do? You call Airbnb and tell them, or what's going on?
Yeah, well, actually, like Airbnb a couple years ago, I think it was 2020, they came out with, well, they had kind of had a bad rep for a lot of parties, right? And then not really filtering those and trying to actually, they're just basically, taking money. They didn't really care. And in 2020, I guess they're saying after there was a huge, I think it was a Halloween, where it was just, they had so many neighbors' complaints from the Halloween events and parties that they put in these rules basically to start banning people more than they were. And then they came out with another thing this last year too, basically just protecting the host, and then also trying to make sure like local guests were not booking one day or short term events. So we're just using it as a party. So they do, and they try to take precaution on that, but obviously that's not going to be 100% because there's always people that are going to still throw parties and stuff. So I think just having your rules in place, and then the follow up, and then you really can't control that besides just being communicating, and then you see some type of, you have cameras or whatever outside, you see some type of activity, then following up, checking with the guest, hey, what's going on there, and they're still not responding, then that would be that would be between what you have set up in your rules and then taking action with Airbnb and all that.
Is that a case of something where, like, because the house rules isn't, it's essentially like a paragraph that you get to write your own house rules. Yeah. So as long as you put in there, hey, listen, no parties, however many people you say are staying at the property, this is how many people are supposed to be at the property. If for some reason you have more than this amount of people, and there's, let's say you're allowed to have 4 cars at this property. If there's more than that, like, and you find out that they're not following those rules, and you say in the house rules, if you do have a party, there'll be $1,000 fine assessed. We'll file a claim through Airbnb. Yeah. What's the likelihood of that actually holding true? And like
what I've noticed, the Airbnb specifically, I think like VRBO is a little bit better on this, but Airbnb used to be terrible. They gotten a little better about reimbursements, damage / parties / all that stuff. They would usually always take the guest side because it's like, oh, that's their customer, forget the host, whatever. But they've done a little bit better on that side. Basically, if you provide evidence that it did, take place, your furniture was damaged, your, whatever it might be, they are starting to more, a little bit more balanced than it was just literally just focused on the guests before.
Right.
So you do have some, but you just got to be on top of like putting your listing, like what's in there, and then also very stern on like what your rules are, and then the fines and everything.
Do you think that scares people away when you're too stern on the rules? Like if you're like, you think that like,
yeah, I mean that you got to have a little bit, I don't know how you even say that. Like nice. How do you say nice it up? Make it, put a ribbon on it.
It has
like,
to be palatable. Yeah. It has to be palatable. It has to be palatable for the guest. Like you're not walking into like a Nazi.
Yeah, it'd be like,
concentration camp.
Don't party and say it with a smile.
Yeah. A little winking emoji.
Yeah, exactly.
Moral of the story is, I think, you're going to run into those parties. That kind of stuff's going to happen. You have to be prepared how to, recourse when that does happen. Like, hey, listen, these are the steps we take. We call Airbnb. We go to the property. We confront the guests. We say, hey, listen, guys, you're not following the house rules. We've called Airbnb. The trip's canceled. Maybe you kick them out, whatever it is. But you have to be, people don't ever think of that kind of stuff when they're listing a property. They're just, oh, this is going to be great. I'm going to make money. These are some things that could happen, that backfire. For the majority of the parts, though, you will cash flow, you will make money. And so it's not like to scare everybody away, but that's just something to keep in mind when it comes to there's the potential for things to go bad.
Yeah. I mean, I think really the biggest thing with Airbnb and short-term rentals overall is a customer, for whatever reason, when they're on vacation and they're even in somebody else's home, a majority of them are very entitled and think, everybody wants something right now. So like as a host, it's almost like, you're almost at their will, or you have to have a system in place where you can handle problem solving. So if that's when a house, like a drain or, something's wrong with the pool or, different issues that might arise, that the customer is just literally like, you know what? This almost everyone that's like this is like, I'm basically dangling a 5-star review in front of you. So if you don't respond within 2 seconds, it's going to 4 and then 3 and then 1. So like you have to know that going into how to handle it, like basically how to deal with people and trying to make them feel at home, because there's some clients will just complain about a piece of dirt in the floor.
Like, a Cheeto, actually. Yeah,
like
we've had the
little things like, okay, I apologized, and then they want $100 for that.
We had one real short story before we get out here. I'm going to tell you, this is crazy. We had a lady stay at one of the properties. She came, and I'm telling you, she was there for like 4 or 5 days. I think the first day, the whole entire solid day she was there, it was 4 ladies, Karens, all of them. She went through the whole entire house. I'm not making this shit up. Like, this is real life. She sent us a list, itemized list. It was probably 50 things, of which 45 of them were irrelevant and 5 of them may be legitimate. Okay. She was like, hey, the drawer sticks when you go to close it. There's a broken, mind you, we're in Vegas, crazy windstorms. And she happened to check in the day right before when all those crazy hurricane winds were like blowing neighborhoods apart. She found like pieces of like balloon in the back. There's a huge backyard. It's got a bunch of rocks. She like crawled through the backyard literally and like looked through all the rocks and found like a popped balloon. You know how like when you pop a balloon, it's got like the latex, little bit of latex or whatever. And she's like, there's a dirty condom in the rocks. There's a broken like blah 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 blah, all this craziness. She found a Cheeto. Okay, we have a big sunroom for the pool. It's like an indoor sunroom, and the chairs you can like whatever. Like there was a Cheeto, like one like little tiny little piece of Cheeto under the sofa. This lady, this is where I'm getting in with it. She went out into the sunroom and literally moved all the furniture to check underneath the furniture, and found like a little piece of Cheeto under there. Yeah. Took a picture of it like, there's Cheetos out here. I'm like, what?
I almost slipped and fell on it.
I swear. No, that's what she said. She said, oh, my friend hurt her foot. Like she stepped on. I was just like, what? And I literally told the lady, I'm like, okay, thank you so much for, letting us know all this stuff. And then of course she follows up with, okay, well, I just want to let you know because, I don't want to just go and give you guys a bad review. I want to give you a chance to like, come up with a solution to fix this. And I'm thinking to myself, red flag. She's like, okay, what do you want, a discount? Like, not happening. Like, I don't understand. Like, you're crazy out of your mind. And, but clearly I couldn't say that to her. And then after she sent the list of like 45 things, Pause. A couple hours go by. Another problem. Hey, there's no like blah blah blah. I don't even remember what it was.
Yeah.
It was insane. The only legitimate thing that she did have was we were in the middle of switching our pool guys at the time. We had to get a new pool person, and the pool, we had been waiting for the new pool guy to come. So there was like a little bit of like the pool needed to be done. Like a pool cleaner needed to come do the pool, right? And we had already, they were like, hey, listen, the pool cleaner's coming tomorrow. Like, you know, we let you check in early. So like, it's just, you're not going to have the pool today. Tomorrow it'll be good for you. That was she's like, oh, then the pool's not done and blah, blah, blah. I'm just like, ma'am, have a great vacation. Please just stop messaging me. Like, I was like, we're going to make sure that we take care of you real nice. We're going to have to give you a really good discount. And then just dead her at the end when she checked out. Like, I never want to talk to this lady again. Yeah. She is why people don't. Her husband wants to kill himself. 100,000% that guy wants to end his life. Or she's not married, one or the other.
Well, that's why there's 4 of them. They're just.
Yeah, they have a lot of cats, and they're just at home asking to speak to managers and get discounted chicken fingers. 100,000%, bro. I am just like, I'm over it. But that was, you know, that's some of the negative stuff that you guys are going to come across when you're doing, short-term rentals and stuff like that.
But you'll do that. Let's say you have a maid and cleaner and everything, and the place will be spotless. You're over there, checking on things that she might have missed or whatever. So this place is like ready to go, and you're thinking like, oh, we went the extra mile for this guest, and then you'll have a Karen that'll just literally nitpick everything. But then you'll have maybe something wrong with your pool, and you're like, oh man, I feel really bad. We weren't able to, the spa temperature, like it's not heating up or whatever the reason where you're like a little timid for the next guest coming in. And then that guest will be like, oh, this is the most amazing place. It was absolutely great. And you're like, oh, like I thought it was going to be terrible for them. But it really just depends on the, people are expect stuff or entitled. And then you have people that are just like appreciate,
letting them stay at your house.
Yeah. 100%. So you're going to deal with all kinds of people. And Vegas is magnified because you got people out here coming to have a good time, party or whatever. So you get all sorts. Okay.
No, don't end it like that. You're gonna end it. I'm just saying I gotta go. Okay, love. I gotta take off. I got something coming up. Okay.